What's up, world? This is Salim with Flip for Figs, and welcome to episode 6 in my figure matchup series. Today, we have the Clone Trooper from Star Wars Episode 2 versus C-3PO from Star Wars Return of the Jedi. We'll be comparing sculpt, accessories, and overall value for the money to see who comes out on top. Stay tuned to the end of this video to see who next week's figure matchup will be.
Flip for Figs.
When I flip, you flip, we flip.
Alright, sculpt-wise, I love this look, and it's interesting because unlike, Stormtroopers where you have several variations of the kind of classic Stormtrooper design, with the Clone Trooper, even though there's a ton of clones out there, we only get this one from Attack of the Clones. This is your only standard kind of clean clone for Phase 1 or Phase 2, which is pretty interesting considering how popular clones are. I know this only came out a few years ago, but I'm sure we'll get a reissue eventually, or a 2-pack would be cool. But yeah, the armor is nicely weathered, as it should be. I mean, although I don't know how weathered it would have been in Attack of the Clones, considering they were brand new, fresh off the factory, but really nice. And then, it's got a fabric undersuit, so you can kind of get them in any poses that you want. The armor does kind of get in the way a little bit, but only the way it would realistically in like real life. And then I have the backpack on, but that doesn't, limit mobility. And yeah, I mean, sculpt work is really nice. The Phase 1 helmet is great, and then the Phase 2 helmet is really cool also. So this video is actually the first time I'm putting the Phase 2 helmet on because I just love the Phase 1 look. And but yeah, it's also nicely weathered. It matches the rest of the body perfectly. I've heard that maybe they're not as accurate as they should be, but I think they look good. All right, sculpt-wise, it's a gorgeous figure, and it's heavy, which is nice because he's, I mean, in real life, he would be a super heavy robot if he's like 6 feet tall and made of, gold or solid metal. But yeah, the sculpt work is really nice. He's a little weathered in all the right places, and then his leg here is silver the way it was in the movies, and his kind of chest wires here, some of them are individual pieces, which adds a nice kind of texture to it as well. And yeah, you could see kind of there's a little bit of rust, and all these, kind of pistons and different, these actually move as you move his arm, which is really cool, the pistons. So that's a really nice detail. Like you could see that work right there. That's really nice. And yeah, I mean, without lights in it, so if you're not using batteries or fusion reactors like I am, then, it's not, obviously it's pretty lifeless. So I do recommend kind of using some batteries or fusion reactors. You can see I have the wire coming out of there, so it's pretty easy to conceal. And then you actually get another face sculpt, and it's easy to swap out. So, and then this way you kind of have his eye falling out of the socket, which is a cool look. I don't know how many people display their C-3PO that way, but it's nice that they threw that in there and that it's also compatible with the light up features. And then in terms of articulation, he's kind of hard to move, especially the legs here, but that's kind of how he walked in the movie. His arms, you get a little bit more posability out of them, so you can kind of, move his elbows and everything like that. So he's not as stiff in terms of the arms, but yeah, I mean, he's as posable as you would expect a robot to be. But in terms of sculpt work, I mean, it's fantastic, and it is die cast. I think it would be not as impressive if it wasn't die cast, so I'm glad they went with that route. Yeah, I mean, sculpt work, it's fantastic, and then the sculpt work on Salacious Crumb is nice too. So, I mean, this is even though it's hard to kind of mess up a robot, it still took a lot of detail, time, and effort to get all these pistons right, and the fact that they kind of move along as the body moves as well. I think Hot Toys did a fantastic job. So C-3PO is taking sculpt and detail. Alrighty, folks, so for the Clone Trooper, this is everything you're going to get in the box. You get a blaster pistol, you also get a blaster rifle, and then a blaster rocket launcher, which I have displayed with him, and also this backpack, which I have displayed with him. And then you get the Phase 2 helmet, which is really nice, but I prefer Phase 1 look, especially, you know, for my Attack of the Clones scene. And then you get a bunch of hands, you know, some for holding weapons and then others that are gestures. You get a thumbs up hand, which is cool. And then also this one, which is kind of like, you know, he's pointing, or this one where it's like, you know, hey, on your tail or whatever. But yeah. And then the display base, it's just a standard one. We didn't get anything special, even though this was part of the Attack of the Clones anniversary collection. It's just the standard display base. There's no like Geonosis Arena or FX or anything like that. All right, so accessories wise, this is everything you're gonna get in the box. You get 2 pairs of hands for each side, and basically they're just kind of pointing gestures. And I like this one. This is kind of like a when in doubt, pinky out kind of gesture, which is fitting for, you know, C-3PO. You get this faceplate that has the eye socket kind of falling out, which is really cool. And that one, you know, the light features work through this one as well. And then you get Salacious B Crumb on his little pillow. Really nice sculpt work there, which I like. The display base is kind of the new style one that we've been getting with. I think actually we started getting these with these Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary figures. So Darth Vader Deluxe, and then this one as well. And we're starting to get them a lot more. This one has a really nice texture in it, which I guess, you know, is similar to either Jabba's sail barge or Jabba's palace, but I really like the texture detail on there. So yeah, accessories wise, it's really slim picking. Clone Trooper takes accessories. Alrighty, so in terms of value for the money, this Clone Trooper retailed at the standard Hot Toys price of around $250. But now it's going to set you back almost 400, if not more. And I was actually surprised by how rare it was when I decided I wanted to pick one up. Because a lot of the other, you know, clone, like named clone characters like Commander Fox or Commander Cody or Jesse, they're, you know, they're available for pretty decent prices even on the aftermarket. But this standard Clone Trooper is not. But yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I love Phase 1 look of Attack of the Clones, you know, Clone Troopers, and I really enjoy having this one in my collection. Value-wise, I think it's a little tricky because is this figure worth like 400 on the aftermarket? I don't know. It's hard because there's so many different Hot Toys out there. You have deluxe versions of amazing characters like Darth Vader and stuff that you can get for even less than that. With that in mind, there's so many other clothes out there. I mean, we just got new Fives and Echo, and you have Jesse, you have Rex, you have Cody, you have a lot of different clones out there, including the clone pilot, who you can get for a lot cheaper than this figure. So could you do without this clone trooper? Yes, I would say so. So in terms of value for the money, I would say that at retail, you know, great value, but aftermarket, it might be hard to stomach. All right, so in terms of value for the money, upon release, this figure was $330 because of the fact that it's die cast, which I still think is a good value. It's a really heavy figure, really great quality. And, you know, now it's going to run you around $400, if not more. This figure is actually a little bit harder to find than I thought it would be, and I think resellers know that, so they kind of charge a bit for that. Obviously, it's C-3PO in his classic look, and this is the only one we have. And so it's either this or the Attack of the Clones one, but the Attack of the Clone ones, it's a totally different color. He's really dirty. You can't use him as your classic C-3PO. I know some people might just because of necessity, but for me, you know, I have this C-3PO with my A New Hope display with R2-D2 and the original cast, and so he needed to be this kind of bright, shiny gold. And so with that said, you know, I needed him in my collection. I'm really glad I have him. But, you know, I think value for the money is definitely there just because, again, it's the only C-3PO we have in the classic look. I love this figure. I think it's beautiful. I think that I feel really good about, you know, buying it. And I think most collectors, even if you pay a little bit more than retail for it, I think you'll appreciate having it. The light up effect really brings it to life. especially whether you're using batteries or, you know, like a fusion reactors kind of solution. But the sculpt work is great, and also being able to see those pistons move is a really nice touch. So you can tell that they spent a lot of time and energy on making this figure. And so, yeah, in my opinion, C-3PO takes value for the money. All right, so let's talk results. And this one's a little tricky because both of these character designs are extremely iconic, and they're really the only versions of these characters in their classic looks. This is your only classic clone trooper. This is your only classic C-3PO in his original trilogy design. But based on this figure matchup, C-3PO won sculpt and detail as well as value for the money, and Clone Trooper took accessories. And so C-3PO is the victor. With that said, I feel like this figure matchup really could have gone either way. I mean, Clone Trooper's accessories are great, but they're nothing, you know, out of the ordinary. And then with C-3PO, the fact that they included Salacious B Crumb when they didn't even have to is a nice touch, and he does come with everything you would expect C-3PO to come with. So it's not like they omitted a key, you know, accessory or anything like that. And in terms of value for the money, it could also go both ways, because if you're a prequel fan, then you need this Clone Trooper design in your collection. I would say that your Attack of the Clones scene or even your Clone Wars scene is not complete without a classic clone. And, you know, but if you're an original trilogy fan, then this C-3PO is the way to go. But based on this figure matchup, C-3PO is the victor.
On next week's episode of Figure Matchup.
When I flip, you flip, we flip.